Left 4 Dead. While not being the most groundbreaking title in its genre, it still holds its own as one cool arcade-style first-person shooter.
Get to the roof!
Left 4 Dead, what can I say? Do you remember back in the 80s and 90s we'd watch these zombie movies and we'd refer to these zombies as either the undead or the living dead? Yes. Well, the new 2K term is the infected. Thanks to movies like Dawn of the Dead and the greatest zombie movies ever, 24 Days and Weeks Later, yes. Thanks to these masterful pieces of cinematography, we've become familiar with these new age zombies. Crazy though, I often wonder how the hell these guys run so fast for rotten infected carcasses. Love a good zombie movie though, so I really need no explanation.
Ain't seen anything like this before.
Jesus, don't let that stop you from smearing it all over yourself.
So anyway, what we have here is one really good fast-paced first-person shooter. The story is kind of irrelevant. I'm not trying to blow this story off, but come on, if you've seen any of the films I mentioned earlier, then you know the drill. There has been an outbreak of this crazy virus that has sent the world in utter turmoil. People are eating people. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Let's get a few things out of the way so we can move on to the meat of the matter. First are the graphics, good but by no means great. It's no Killzone 2, but they're still good, solid all round. Then the audio. The voice acting is some good B-movie stuff, just like the kind of acting you'd expect from a good zombie movie with B-list actors.
We made it. I can't believe we made it.
Son, we just crossed the street.
Now let's break down the gameplay into 3 sections. First section, the good. Now good gameplay elements include the weapons. The weapons are quite effective. Even the machine guns. Usually the machine guns in games are quite useless. Lots of noise, very few bodies. But here, well, in this game, machine guns are quite useful. Especially when the infected decide to swarm you in hordes and you really need to clear a room. The shotgun is also good, and the other guns I saw were cool, with the exception of the sniper rifle. I mean, I see its purpose. It's just that this game can get a bit crazy. Not much time for well thought out strategy. Then there are your handguns. You can dual wield, but this has its disadvantages. We'll get to that later. Another good element is the melee combat. Very useful. You'll never truly learn to appreciate the effectiveness of a gun butt until you've used it in Left 4 Dead. Yeah, you can get really crazy cracking a few dozen infected skulls in a chaotic situation, especially when you're out of ammo or blinded by this fat guy's vomit. Another up point, the controls. Real pick up and play, real arcade, nothing complicated. If you have any experience at all in the first person genre, you'll fit right in real fast. Then we have the co-op element. Real nice, a bit overdone but nice. You're kind of forced to be cooperative. When a team member becomes incapacitated, which can happen in a variety of ways, another member of the team has to assist. But like I said, it's also a bit overdone. We'll get to that soon. Another great element incorporated in the co-op option is co-op online. You can team up with 3 other players anywhere across the globe or even next door. Yeah, good old Xbox Live. Then still on the online aspect, we have Versus. Versus is cool. It gives you the option to play as either a survivor or an infected. Interesting twist. The best of the best has to be co-op system link, because when you play with strangers online, anything can happen. Most of the time, the problem is uncooperative players or people who aren't serious. In the middle of the game, they just exit the session. Apparently, we need to tag our profiles with a note that says, serious players only. But with System Link, like I always emphasize, you're gaming with people you know, so more than likely you'll all know what each other is about. Here's the second section of gameplay, the OK section. OK is like the fast pace of the game. OK because it's definitely not for everyone, and to who it's for, even they might get a bit frustrated with it on the hardest difficulty. You see, in situations like when you get sprayed by the fat guy, this attracts a swarm, and things get a bit out of hand. So yeah, the fast pace can get a bit crazy. Another okay element is a single player campaign option. Okay, because if that's all you've got, then you'll have to work with it, and it isn't torture. But this game was clearly intended for multiplayer co-op. Your team in single player sometimes help, but we'll get to that later. Okay, that's it for the tolerable okays. Now let's get to the down and dirty bad stuff. Nothing that kills a game, but bad just the same. The loading times before the stages start is way too long. That's the first thing. Second bad, there's no ADS. Now you can aim down the sight with the sniper rifle, but this is something I'd like to do with all the guns. At first, when you just start, this no ADS thing will seem to make sense, simply because of the fast-paced arcade style of the game. But once you get past the excitement, once you die the first dozen times, you'll start looking to a little bit of strategy. You'll start thinking this run and gun thing can't be the only way. You'll want to start picking the infected off at a distance. Not necessarily sniper distance, but a little further back. And aiming down the sight as opposed to shooting from the hip does provide you with a bit more stability, hence greater accuracy. Get me? Now here's one of the things I told you I'd get back to. Reloading. I'm talking about reloading while dual wielding. This is silly and shows a great lack of AI on your character's part. Your character, while being torn to shreds by the infected, will run out of ammo, and instead of reloading just one gun, eliminating the threat, then when it's clear, reload the next, your character insists on reloading both guns before firing. Silly. Plain silly most of the times, because you die because of this nonsense. One more thing I said I'd get back to. The overdone co-op element. It's good to give gamers a reason to assist each other and work as a team, but it's bad when this comes off as blatantly deliberate and forced on you. When you get dragged away by a hunter, the guys with the extreme tongues, most of the time you can't help yourself, and you have to wait to be assisted or you die. If you fall off a ledge, it's the same thing. Instead of just pulling yourself up, you have to wait for assistance. This is what I mean when I say overdone. Now, the last one has to be the AI of your teammates. I said they can be helpful, but this happens less than you'd like. For most parts, they're stupid and brain dead. You can't give out commands to them, and for the most part, they don't go where you'd like them to go. So that's it. Left 4 Dead, a fast-paced, arcade-style first-person shooter with more ups than downs. The downs are a bit annoying, but nothing to take away from a really strong title. Nothing that makes it a bad game. The lab gives Left 4 Dead an 8 out of 10.
Run or shoot! Whoa!
Stay with us, gamers. After the break, we check a special charity games night put on by Straight Games and Herbalife independent distributors, and we also check some gamer mail.